Hey everybody, greetings and salutations to all the gang who is tuning in to to watch this read along live, and also the mischief here with me. Hello gang, how are you doing?
Good.
Yes.
Already causing trouble.
Hurrah and huzzah. This is what people tune in for. Yukihime is sleepy. What time is it over there in Europe land?
It's not about the time. It's 11 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just tired
Aw.
and sleepy. So, and I am here, and I will hear a lot of magpies and deals, moods, voices that will certainly not make me sleep. Like
Fight it.
Yeah, I will see if I manage to win this fight. If you don't hear me anything from me, don't get scared.
Oh no, you must fight it, Yukihime. We need you here till the bitter end. Oh shoot, you guys, I got a call from I really need to take. Oh jeez, this is a terrible timing. I'm gonna mute myself.
What convenient
I'm gonna
timing.
mute myself, but you guys talk or something.
We'll distract them.
I'm trusting you guys.
What a foolish move that is.
All right, let's make as much copyrighted noise as possible.
I mean, it's already enough copyrighted. That's through that secret stream. Of course, if you guys would have been subscribed to this channel, and it was on this channel, I don't remember, and the other channel also, then you would have noticed that there was a secret stream that now is forever gone by the wiped out from existence by the YouTube gods who have decreed that they shall not let Magpie enjoy her anime.
Yes, Magpie decided to show some stuff that I guess anime gods didn't like, and they said, no, you can't show our thing on YouTube. You must pay us.
Like a Vigaleba Tigadould, it is now forever encased in ice.
You know what else is encased in ice? Dr. Pepper. That's right, the cool, refreshing taste of Dr. Pepper.
When you're a bookworm fan, so any mention of ice or snow is very, very interesting. I remember how upset Magpie was because we were spanning stuff with like the snow emoji.
Indeed.
During the award away. Which word away, which I'm considering rereading or at least reading it on the channel.
Yes, I suppose we can do all the setup stuff.
Certainly.
Yeah. Patrick, I think you wanted to read something.
Are we going to do that now, or are we waiting for Magpie to get back?
I mean,
we may as well get it out of the way. Unless you want to wait for Magpie to be back.
I am here.
I guess we can go with the...
I am here. Don't worry. I am here.
Hey, she's back.
Mama's back. All right. What's up? What did you guys want to say about, usual like, subscribe, comment?
We were about to get into the early game.
Oh, okay, okay, you're right. Okay, no need. Let's. I'm glad you guys waited for me because I'm excited to hear you guys. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for your patience. Let's get started by seeing the comments. So the first one was Patrick. Patrick, go ahead.
So this is a poem made famous by a certain showrunner from Doctor Who. Demons run when a good man goes to war. Night will fall and drown the sun when a good man goes to war. Friendship dies and true love lies. Night will fall and dark will rise when a good man goes to war. Demons run but count the cost. The battle's won but the child is lost when a good man goes to war.
Aw. Thank you for
Stephen
sharing
Moffat.
that.
Yeah.
That's very deep stuff, definitely.
I thought after last read along that was kind of fitting.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Last read along was tough. I cried. I did cry. So yeah, it's very fitting. Thank you for sharing it. And also, Yay, also shared the summary of last one. So get us up to date, Yay, please, if you would.
Absolutely. Last time, on the Count of Monte Cristo, the Abbe showed Dantes his cell and his work, eventually agreeing to teach Dantes much of what he knows. Dantes took to the education like a fish to water, learning nearly all of it within a scant 6 months. At the same time, the Abbe and Dantes discussed Dante's misfortune and identified those most likely to be responsible for his false imprisonment and why. After some time, the two turned again to a plan to escape and, after finding a way to disable the sentry non-lethally, they set about digging a new tunnel. On the eve of their escape, however, the Abbe became violently unwell. Through a sequestered medicine hidden in the Abbe's cell, the Abbe survived, but was left half-paralyzed and not long for this world. During this time, Dantes could have enacted the plan and escaped, but he vowed to remain with the Abbe until his passing. Now, the Abbe has promised to reveal a secret to Dantes, this time on the Count of Monte Cristo.
Thank you for that.
Brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Bravo. Thank you. Ah, man, you guys are so full of culture. I love it. We are cultured individuals in this chat. Only cultured people allowed.
You know, in certain circles of the internet, that means something completely different from what you likely mean.
Why can't people just have nice things? Oh my goodness. Oh.
Because people like me are involved, and we can't allow nice things.
Anyway, we are not cultured individuals then, because apparently that is a bad thing. We are individuals. Okay. Who else was in the chat? We also have Teal, who is Teal, you're always so quiet. And I would say, if I didn't know any better, that you're like the good model student. But you have since I said that, proven that I really jumped the gun, and you're not a model student. You're just waiting for the perfect time to roast me. So
We're the quiet ones, I have to say. But I really don't think I was that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to Patrick, it was fairly benign. So I will say that. It was just a shock. I think it was the shock. Yeah. All right. But Teal is also there. I see all of these beautiful references to Napoleon and Waterloo and all that stuff. I love it. Teal says, do you want to read your comments, Teal?
I mean, I can. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yes, well, Kiade said that I will deliver him his Waterloo, so how could I not but oblige? Because it is true. Every Napoleon will one day have their Waterloo. You can count on that fact. Sometimes with one stroke of a pen.
Oh, man.
May all of our earthly treasures be lost.
That's cold, Teal. Sorry.
It is very cold. I feel bad about that one. But yes, we may lose our earthly treasures, which is why we need to hoard our real riches, or goodness, in the cavern of our minds, and never spend it all away, only in dividends of compassion and goodwill. And also, staying on our islands, not going out into choppy waters only to be caught in the riptides of desire. We do not chase minor trinkets like the #1 chatter badge that YouTube Coon added on a whim.
Oh my goodness. As always, full of puns and poetry, and I am in
Jab
awe.
at me.
Yes, but you know, we have to
I
take
would,
our
I
chances.
said it.
Mhm.
I would post a response, Teal, but I have been banished to Elba.
Oh no. Well, we
Well, you get one comeback.
Oh. Well, I suggest you think it over very well.
I'll have
Yay.
to think about it.
Take a sip or two of DK pepper while we're at it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, so it is super hot where I'm at. I hope you guys don't hear the fan. I had to turn on the fan. So excuse me if it's a little distracting while we read, but I can't help it. I have my refreshing drink. My lips have chapstick on them, and I'm ready to go. You guys ready as well?
Are you sure
Yep,
you're
yep.
ready? Are you going to be able to do this without jumping out and doing something?
That interruption was definitely not my fault, but I really needed to take it. I mean, when your employer calls, and you have to take it. So I had to. Okay, so let's do this, everybody. Today reading is Abbe and Dantes is going to be read by Patrick, and Abbe Faria by Teal, and Serving Disease and Hoping She Doesn't Fall Asleep is going to be Yukihime. Yukihime, are you there? Are you still with us, Yuki?
I'm with you, but please repeat what you last said.
No, just basically saying that you're going to be sleeping along while we read. All right, and also a big thank you to highlighter MVP Teal for making this possible. All right, you guys, let's get started before Yukihime totally drifts off into Schlaftrum's embrace. Chapter 18: The Treasure. When Dantes returned next morning to the chamber of his companion in captivity, he found Faria seated and looking composed. In the ray of light which entered the narrow window of his cell, he held open in his left hand, of which alone, it will be recollected, he retained use, a sheet of paper, which, from being constantly rolled into a small compass, had the form of a cylinder, and was not easily kept open. He did not speak, but he showed the paper to Dantes.
What is that?
Look at it.
Said the Abbe with a smile.
I've looked at it with all possible attention, and I only see a half-burnt paper on which are traces of Gothic characters inscribed with a peculiar kind of ink.
This paper, my friend, I may now avow to you, since I have the proof of your fidelity. This paper is my treasure, of which, from this day forth, 1/2 belongs to you.
The sweat started from Dantes' brow. Until this day, and for how long a time, he had refrained from talking of the treasure, which had brought upon the Abbe the accusation of madness. With his instinctive delicacy, Edmund had preferred avoiding any touch of this painful chord, and Faria had been equally silent. He had taken the silence of the old man for a return to reason. And now, these few words uttered by Faria, after so painful a crisis, seemed to indicate a serious relapse into mental alienation.
Your treasure?
Stammered Dantes. Faria smiled.
Yes, you have indeed a noble nature, Edmund, and I see by your paleness and agitation what is passing in your heart at this moment. No, be assured, I am not mad. This treasure exists, Dantes, and if I have not been allowed to possess it, you will. Yes, you. No one would listen or believe me, because everyone thought me mad. But you, who must know that I am not, listen to me, and believe me so afterwards if you will.
Alas,
Murmured
this
Emmon to
is a.
myself. I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I thought you wanted us to
I
speak
know.
through
I
those
know. I
things.
know. I know. Go ahead. It was a lapse of mine. Go ahead. Go
A
ahead.
terrible relapse,
Lapsus
in fact.
Brutus.
This is a terrible relapse. There was only this blow wanting. My friend, your attack has perhaps fatigued you. Had you not better repose a while? Tomorrow, if you will, I will hear your narrative, but today I wish to nurse you carefully. Besides, a treasure is not a thing we need to hurry about.
On the contrary, it is a matter of the utmost importance, Edmund. Who knows if tomorrow, or the next day after, the third attack may not come on? And then must not all be over? Yes, indeed, I have often thought with a bitter joy that these riches, which would make the wealth of a dozen families, will be forever lost to those men who persecute me. This idea was once a vengeance to me, and I tasted it slowly in the night of my dungeon and the despair of my captivity. But now I have forgiven the world for the love of you. Now that I see you, young and with a promising future, now that I think of all that may result to you in the good fortune of such a disclosure, I shudder at any delay, and tremble lest I should not assure to you one as worthy as yourself the possession of so vast an amount of hidden wealth.
Edmund turned away his head with a sigh.
You persist in your incredulity, Edmund. My words have not convinced you. I see you require proofs. Well then, read this paper, which I have never shown to anyone.
Tomorrow, my dear friend.
Said Emmon, desirous of not yielding to the old man's madness.
I thought it was understood that we should not talk of that until tomorrow.
Then we will not talk of it until tomorrow, but read this paper today.
I will not irritate him.
Thought Edmund, and taking the paper of which half was wanting, having been burnt no doubt by some accident, he read.
This treasure, which may amount in 2 of Roman crowns, in the most distant of the second opening, who declare it belonged to him also heir. 25th April, 149.
Well?
Said Faria when the young man had finished reading it.
Why, I see nothing but broken lines and unconnected words, which are rendered illegible by fire.
Yes, to you, my friend, who read them for the first time, but not for me, who have grown pale over them by many nights' study, and have reconstructed every phrase, completed every thought.
And do you believe you have discovered the hidden meaning?
I am sure I have, and you shall judge for yourself. But first, listen to the history of this paper.
Silence! Steps approach. I go, adieu.
And Dantes, happy to escape the history and explanation which would be sure to confirm his belief in his friend's mental instability, glided like a snake along the narrow passage, while Faria, restored by his alarm to a certain amount of activity, pushed the stone into place with his foot, and covered it with a mat in order the more effectually to avoid discovery. It was the governor, who, hearing of Faria's illness from the jailer, had come in person to see him. Faria sat up to receive him, avoiding all gestures in order that he might conceal from the governor the paralysis that had already half-stricken him with death. His fear was lest the governor, touched with pity, might order him to be removed to better quarters, and thus separate him from his young companion. But fortunately, this was not the case, and the governor left him, convinced that the poor madman, for whom his heart he felt a kind of affection, was only troubled with a slight indisposition. During this time Edmund, seated on his bed with his head in his hands, tried to recollect his scattered thoughts. Faria, since their first acquaintance, had been on all points so rational and logical, so wonderfully sagacious, in fact, that he could not understand how so much wisdom on all points could be allied with madness. Was Faria deceived as to his treasure? And was all the world deceived as to Faria? Dantes remained in his cell all day, not daring to return to his friend, thinking thus to defer the moment when he should be convinced once and for all that the Abbe was mad. Such a conviction would be so terrible. But toward the evening, after the hour of the customary visit had gone by, Faria, not seeing the young man appear, tried to move and get over the distance which separated them. Edmund shuddered when he heard the painful efforts with which the old man made to drag himself along. His leg was inert, and he could no longer make use of one arm. Edmund was obliged to assist him, for otherwise he would not have been able to enter by the small aperture which led to Dantes' chamber.
"Here I am, pursuing you remorselessly,"
he said with a benignant smile.
"You thought to escape my munificence, but it is in vain. Listen to me."
Edmund saw that there was no escape, and placing the old man on his bed, he seated himself on the stool beside him.
"You know that I was the secretary and intimate friend of Cardinal Spada, the last of the princes of that name. I owe to this worthy lord all the happiness I ever knew. He was not rich, although the wealth of his family had passed into a proverb, and I heard the phrase very often, as rich as a Spada. But he, like public rumor, lived on this reputation for wealth. His palace was my paradise. I was tutor to his nephews, who are dead, and when he was alone in the world, I tried by absolute devotion to his will to make up to him all he had done for me during 10 years of unremitting kindness. The cardinal's house had no secrets from me. I had often seen my noble patron annotating ancient volumes and eagerly searching amongst dusty family manuscripts. One day, when I was reproaching him for his unavailing searches and deploring the prostration of mind that followed them, he looked at me and, smiling bitterly, opened a volume relating to the history of the city of Rome. There, in the 20th chapter of the life of Pope Alexander VI, were the following lines, which I can never forget. The great wars of Romagna had ended. Caesar Borgia, who had completed his conquest, had need of money to purchase all Italy. The Pope also need of money to bring matters to an end with Louis XII, King of France, who was formidable still in spite of his recent reverses. It was necessary, therefore, to have recourse to some profitable scheme, which was a matter of great difficulty in the impoverished condition of exhausted Italy. His Holiness had an idea. He determined to make 2 cardinals. By choosing 2 of the greatest personages of Rome, especially rich men, this was the return the Holy Father looked for. In the first place, he could sell the great appointments and splendid offices which the cardinals already held, and then he had the 2 hats to sell besides. There was a third point of view, which will appear hereafter. The Pope and Caesar Borgia first found the 2 future cardinals. They were Giovanni Rospigliosi, who held 4 of the highest dignities of the Holy See, and Caesar Spada, one of the noblest and richest of the Roman nobility. Both felt the high honor of such favor from the Pope, They were ambitious, and Caesar Borgia soon found purchasers for their appointments. The result was that Rospigliosi and Spada paid for being cardinals, and 8 other persons paid for the offices of the cardinals held before their elevation, and thus 800,000 crowns entered into the coffers of the speculators. It is time now to proceed to the last part of the speculation. The Pope heaped attentions upon Rospigliosi and Spada, conferred upon them the insignia of the cardinalate, and induced them to arrange their affairs and take up the residence at Rome. Then the Pope and Caesar Borgia invited the 2 cardinals to dinner. This was a matter of dispute between the Holy Father and his son. Caesar thought that they could make use of one of the means which he has always had ready for his friends. That is to say, in the first place, the famous key which was given to certain persons with the request that they go and open a designated cupboard. This key was furnished with a small iron point, a negligence on the part of the locksmith. When this was pressed to effect the opening of the cupboard, of which the lock was difficult, the person was pricked by the small point, and died the next day. Then there was the ring with the lion's head, which Caesar wore when he wanted to greet his friends with a clasp of the hand. The lion bit the hand thus favored, and at the end of 24 hours, the bite was mortal. Caesar proposed to his father that they should either ask the cardinals to open the cupboard or shake hands with them, but Alexander VI replied, "Now, as to the worthy cardinals, Spada and Rospigliosi, let us ask both of them to dinner. Something tells me that we shall get that money back. Besides, you forget, Caesar, an indigestion declares itself immediately, while a prick or a bite occasions a delay of a day or 2. Caesar gave way before such cogent reasoning, and the cardinals were consequently invited to dinner. The table was laid in a vineyard belonging to the Pope, near San Pierdarena, a charming retreat which the cardinals knew very well by report. Rospigliosi, quite set up with his new dignities, went with a good appetite and his most ingratiating manner. Spada, a prudent man and greatly attached to his only nephew, a young captain of the highest promise, took paper and pen and made his will. He then sent word to his nephew to wait for him near the vineyard, but it appeared the servant did not find him. Spada knew what these invitations meant, since Christianity, so eminently civilizing, had made progress in Rome. It was no longer a centurion who came from the tyrant with a message, "Caesar wills that you die," but it was a legate a latere who came with a smile on his lips to say from the Pope, "His Holiness requests you to dine with him." Spada set about at 2:00 to San Pierdarena. The Pope awaited him. The first sight that attracted the eyes of Spada was that of his nephew, in full costume, and Caesar Borgia paying him most marked attentions. Spada turned pale, as Caesar looked at him with an ironical air, which proved that he had anticipated all, and that the snare was well spread. They began dinner, and Spada was only able to inquire of his nephew if he had received his message. The nephew replied no, perfectly comprehending the meaning of the question. It was too late, for he had already drunk a glass of excellent wine, placed for him expressly by the Pope's butler. Spada at the same moment saw another bottle approach him, which he was pressed to taste. An hour afterwards, a physician declared they were both poisoned through eating mushrooms. Spada died on the threshold of the vineyard. The nephew expired at his own door, making signs which his wife could not comprehend. Then Caesar and the Pope hastened to lay hands on the heritage, under pretense of seeking for the papers of the dead man. But the inheritance consisted in this only, a scrap of paper on which Spada had written, "I bequeath to my beloved nephew my coffers, my books, and, amongst others, my breviary with the gold corners, which I beg he will preserve in remembrance of his affectionate uncle." The heirs sought everywhere, admired the breviary, laid hands on the furniture, and were greatly astonished that Spada, the rich man, was really the most miserable of uncles. No treasures, unless they were those of science, contained in the library and laboratories. That was all. Caesar and his father searched, examined, scrutinized, but found nothing. or at least very little, not exceeding a few thousand crowns in plate, and about the same in ready money. But the nephew had time to say to his wife before he expired, "Look well among my uncle's papers, there is a will." They sought even more thoroughly than the august heirs had done, but it was fruitless. There were 2 palaces and a vineyard behind the Palatine Hill, but in these days landed property had not much value, and the 2 palaces and the vineyard remained to the family since they were beneath the rapacity of the Pope and his son. Months and years rolled on. Alexander VI died, poisoned. You know by what mistake. Caesar, poisoned at the same time, escaped by shedding his skin like a snake, but the new skin was spotted by the poison till it looked like a tiger's. Then, compelled to quit Rome, he went and got himself obscurely killed in a night skirmish, scarcely noticed in history. After the Pope's death and his son's exile, it was supposed that Spada's family would resume the splendid position they had held before the cardinal's time. But this was not the case. The Spadas remained in doubtful ease. A mystery hung over this dark affair, and the public rumor was that Caesar, a better politician than his father, had carried off from the Pope the fortune of the 2 cardinals. I say the 2 because Cardinal Rospigliosi, who had not taken any precaution, was completely despoiled. Up to this point,
said Fadia, interrupting the thread of his narrative.
This seems to you very meaningless, no doubt, eh?
Oh, my friend. On the contrary, it seems as if I were reading a most interesting narrative. Go on, I beg of you.
I will. The family began to get accustomed to their obscurity. Years rolled on, and amongst the descendants some were soldiers, other diplomatists, some churchmen, some bankers, some grew rich, and some were ruined. I come now to the last of the family, whose secretary I was, the Count of Spada. I had often heard him complain of the disproportion of his rank with his fortune, and I advised him to invest all he had in an annuity. He did so, and thus doubled his income. The celebrated breviary remained in the family, and was in the Count's possession. It had been handed down from father to son, for the singular clause of the only will that had been found had caused it to be regarded as a genuine relic, preserved in the family with superstitious veneration. It was an illuminated book, with beautiful Gothic characters, and so weighty with gold that a servant always carried it before the cardinal on days of great solemnity. At the sight of papers of all sorts, titles, contracts, parchments, which were kept in the archives of the family, all descending from the poisoned cardinal, I in my turn examined the immense bundles of documents, like 20 servitors, stewards, secretaries before me. But in spite of the most exhaustive researches, I found nothing. Yet I had even written a precise history of the Borgia family, for the sole purpose of assuring myself whether any increase of fortune had occurred to them on the death of Cardinal Caesar Spada, but could only trace the acquisition of the property of the Cardinal Rospigliosi, his companion in misfortune. I was then almost assured that the inheritance had neither profited the Borgias nor the family, but had remained unpossessed, like the treasures of the Arabian Nights, which slept in the bosom of the earth under the eyes of the genie. I searched, ransacked, counted, calculated 1,000 and 1,000 times the income and expenditure of the family for 300 years. It was useless. I remained in my ignorance, and the Count of Spada in his poverty. My patron died. He had reserved from his annuity his family papers, his library, composed of 5,000 volumes, and his famous breviary. All these he bequeathed to me, with 1,000 Roman crowns, which he had in ready money, on condition that I would have the anniversary masses said for the repose of his soul, and that I would draw up a genealogical tree and history of his house. All this I did scrupulously. Be easy, my dear Edmund. We are near the conclusion. In 1807, a month before I was arrested, And a fortnight after the death of Count Spada, on the 25th of December, you will see presently how the date became fixed in my memory. I was reading, for the 1000th time, the papers I was arranging, for the palace was sold to a stranger, and I was going to leave Rome and settle at Florence, intending to take with me 12,000 francs I possessed, my library, and the famous breviary, when, tired with my constant labor at the same thing, and overcome by a heavy dinner I had eaten, my head dropped on my hands, and I fell asleep about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I awoke as the clock was striking 6. I raised my head. I was in utter darkness. I rang for a light, but, as no one came, I determined to find one for myself. It was indeed but anticipating the simple manners which I should soon be under the necessity of adopting. I took a wax candle on one hand, and with the other groped about for a piece of paper, my matchbox being empty, with which I proposed to get a light from the small flame still playing on the embers. Fearing, however, to make use of any valuable piece of paper, I hesitated for a moment, then recollected that I had seen in the famous breviary, which was on the table beside me, an old paper quite yellow with age, and which had served as a marker for centuries, kept there by the requests of the heirs. I felt for it, found it, twisted it up together, and, putting it into the expiring flame, set light to it. But beneath my fingers, as if by magic, in proportion as the fire ascended, I saw yellowish characters appear on the paper. I grasped it in my hand, put out the flame as quickly as I could, lighted my taper in the fire itself, and opened the crumpled paper with inexpressible emotion, recognizing, when I had done so, that these characters had been traced in mysterious and sympathetic ink, only appearing when exposed to the fire. Nearly 1/3 of the paper had been consumed by the flame. It was that paper you read this morning. Read it again, Dantes, and then I will complete for you the incomplete words and unconnected sense.
Faria, with an air of triumph, offered the paper to Dantes, who this time read the following words, traced with an ink of a reddish color resembling rust. Sorry.
This 25th day of April 1498 be Alexander the Sixth, and fearing that not he may desire to become my heir, and Bentivoglio, who were poisoned, my sole heir that I have but and has visited with me, that is in island of Monte Cristo, all I pose jewels, diamonds, gems, that I alone may amount to nearly 2 mil, will find on raising the 20th row creek to the east in a right line, two open in the caves. The treasure is the furthest at which treasure I bequeath to leave and as my sole heir. 25th April, 1498. Chase.
And now, read this other paper.
And he presented to Dantes a second leaf with fragments of lines written on it, which Edmund read as follows.
Being invited to dine by His Holiness, content with making me pay for my hat, serves me the fate of Cardinals Capara. I declare to my nephew Guido Spada, read in a place he knows. The caves of the small est of ingots gold money, know of the existence of this treasure, which lions of Rome, oh, lions of Roman crowns, and which he from the small ings have been made. Ungol in the second tire to him our spada.
Faria followed him with an excited look.
And now,
He said when he saw that Dantes had read the last line.
put the two fragments together and judge for yourself.
Dantes obeyed, and the conjoined pieces gave the following.
This 25th day of April 1498, being invited to dine by His Holiness Alexander VI, and fearing that not content with making me pay for my hat, he may desire to become my heir, and reserves for me the fate of Cardinals Caparra and Bentivoglio, who were poisoned. I declare my nephew Guido Spada my sole heir, that I have buried in a place he knows, and has visited with me, that is in the caves of the small island of Monte Cristo, all I possessed of ingots, gold, money, jewels, diamonds, gems, that I alone know of the existence of this treasure, which may amount to nearly 2,000,000 Roman crowns, and which he will find on raising the 20th rock from the small creek to the east in a right line. 2 openings have been made in these caves. The treasure is in the furthest angle, in the second, which treasure I bequeath and leave entire to him as my sole heir. 25th April, 1498. Caesar Spada.
Well, do you comprehend now?
It is the declaration of Cardinal Spada, and the will so long sought for.
Replied Edmund, still incredulous.
Yes, 1,000 times, yes.
And who completed it as it is now?
I did, aided by the remaining fragment. I guessed the rest, measuring the length of the lines by those of the paper, and divining the hidden meaning by means of what was in part revealed, as we are guided in a cavern by the small ray of light above us.
And what did you do when you arrived at this conclusion?
I resolved to set out, and did set out at that very instant, carrying with me the beginning of my great work, the unity of the Italian kingdom. But for some time the imperial police, who at this period, quite contrary to what Napoleon desired so soon as he had a son born to him, wished for a partition of provinces, had their eyes on me, and my hasty departure, the cause of which they were unable to guess, having aroused their suspicions, I was arrested at the very moment I was leaving Piombino. Now,
Continued Faria, addressing Dantes with an almost paternal expression.
now, my dear fellow, you know as much as I do myself. If we ever escape together, half this treasure is yours. If I die here, and you escape alone, the whole belongs to you.
But has this treasure no more legitimate possessor in the world than ourselves?
No, no. Be easy on that score. The family is extinct. The last Count of Spada, moreover, made me his heir, bequeathing to me this symbolic breviary. He bequeathed to me all it contained. No, no. Make your mind satisfied on that point. If we lay hands on this fortune, we may enjoy it without remorse.
And you say this treasure amounts to
2 millions of Roman crowns, nearly 13 millions of our money.
impossible.
Said Dante, staggered at the enormous amount.
Impossible? And why? The Spada family was one of the oldest and most powerful families of the 15th century. And in those times, when other opportunities for investment were wanting, such accumulations of gold and jewels were by no means rare. There are at this day Roman families perishing of hunger, though possessed of nearly 1 million in diamonds and jewels, handed down by entail, and which they cannot touch.
Edmund thought he was in a dream. He wavered between incredulity and joy.
I have only kept this secret so long from you that I might test your character and then surprise you. Had we escaped before my attack of catalepsy, I should have conducted you to Monte Cristo. Now, it is you who will conduct me thither. Well, Dantes, you do not thank me?
This treasure belongs to you, my dear friend, and to you only. I have no right to it. I am no relation of yours.
You are my son, Dantes. You are the child of my captivity. My profession condemns me to celibacy. God has sent you to me to console, at one and the same time, the man who could not be a father and the prisoner who could not get free.
And Faria extended the arm of which alone the use remained to him, to the young man, who threw himself upon his neck and wept. End of chapter.
Invisible ink. Such a nice
Phew.
trick.
Yes,
Why didn't anybody think to burn all the papers?
because that
Well-
sounds crazy.
I was gonna say, who would think to burn all the papers?
Oh man.
That's one thing that That's one thing that I enjoyed in that movie, National Treasure, because who would actually think to take flame or some kind of heat source to the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah.
You know, and it's hilarious because as Teal was reading, like, yeah, I fell asleep. When I woke up, I needed light. I needed some kind of paper. Oh, there's this paper from this old book. Let me just roll it up and burn it. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Who thinks that way? Like, it's a paper that's been there since like forever, and he's just like, I'm just gonna burn it.
Can I also say, Abbe Faria in this chapter makes Anne of Green Gables look like a mute.
Oh my gosh! By the way, you know what? We forgot to say it, but Teal, bravo! You carried that chapter so well. Dang, yeah, it's all purple. Wow, yeah. Yeah, it's like wall of text. But you know what? The story was really engrossing. Like, I was like just really enjoying the read. Like, it's like, wow, what a tale of betrayal and oh man, just people doing all these things to cheat each other out of money. Oh man. So that is where the money came from. Very different from what the movies, several of the movies, went about. They just said like, here's the money of this old family, take it. But
I
no.
remember they made it seem like Abbe Faria was part of some conspiracy.
Yeah, the 2024 was kind of also like that. So I'm enjoying seeing how like it actually is supposed to be, and also while Teal was reading, I was like, yeah, you can tell that they paid they paid the author per word because he was cashing in on this chapter. He was like, time to make some more money. And I love that we got like him reading the paper not once but twice, and then the other paper, and then the paper together. I'm like, did you really need to do that?
Right.
Yeah,
Made
no.
it very awkward to read aloud.
Yeah, aloud. I think when you're reading it quietly, it's fine. You just kind of glance through it, but yeah, it's a little silly aloud.
Now the real question here for you is, which is more money? The amount that the Count of Monte Cristo here is about to inherit, or the total amount that this property has made?
Probably
I mean, there's been
treasure.
multiple movies, and
Yeah. Well, 13 millions. I think there's a little note. I can't. Oh, wait, there is a note. Is there a note that we can. Let me see. There is a note somewhere.
When accounted for time and interest and inflation and all those things.
Taxes. Okay.
Well,
Well,
you
don't
don't
gotta
want
pay
to count
taxes
taxes right
treasure.
there.
Except like when you spend it. I have heard, and it's hard to calculate the difference between francs and euros and dollars and 200 years of inflation, but it's been estimated at over 300 million up to maybe even $3 billion.
Dang. Yeah.
So not quite richest man in the world level, but pretty freaking high up there.
That is like I would love to have a few billion. So I found Google and I'm showing what it is showing to me, of course.
Okay.
Let's see. It says the Count of Monte Cristo's treasure is equivalent to billions of dollars in today's currency, with estimates ranging from approximately 3.6 billion to 6.5 billion or more, depending on the valuation of the approximately 300 million francs mentioned by some economic historians. This massive fortune included real estate, valuable houses, and funds invested in foreign blah blah blah. Anyway, so that's a lot of money. A lot of money. We should all be so fortunate to have that much money, or at least a fraction of the money. So, with such a huge,
at that amount of money, you're going to start attracting dragons.
Yeah. So, yeah. So now it makes sense why everybody thought that the old man was insane, because he's like, I have like a treasure and I'm willing to give you, I don't know, I guess the 1 million or the 6 million was equivalent to, I don't know, like $500 million maybe at this point. I don't know. It was a lot of money. So no wonder they thought him insane.
All of that, and then the richest person or wealthiest person in the world today is worth an estimated 371 billion.
Yeah, let's not bring up that kind of obscene wealth. Oh my god. Yeah.
Calling all dragons.
Oh, that amount of money is just filthy obscene. Like you can have too much money, and that is too much money, you guys. I don't know.
See, now that's the kind of money that you poison a guy at dinner over.
We are not saying anything here. We are not here plotting.
In Minecraft.
Nothing. Yes,
historically speaking, in Minecraft.
We are definitely not threatening to do anything to a certain owner of Twitter.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, avarice aside, that's still a lot of money, and I think that Dante's, if he manages to break free and claim it, he has suffered enough, and he has proven that he has the integrity and the character to be able to handle that much money. Like, people who don't have like a certain quality of character will either lose it, get it taken from them, squander it. They will use it for evil. And I think Abbe Faria was also really worried about him. That's why he was also like not telling him about his secret. He waited quite a bit of time before he told Dantes about it and bequeathed it to him. Yeah.
And we can trust Dantes won't use it to enact some kind of
Oh, no.
evil scheme to get vengeance.
Oh, never, never.
Oh, definitely not. And I definitely did read that poem at the beginning of this to say that was exactly what was about to happen.
Look, we've had a bit of a hiccup, but now he's gonna get out of prison probably, and just it's smooth sailing from here.
Yep.
Nothing bad happens in the rest of the 1,000+ page book.
Yes.
He's going to be a man of God. He's going to dedicate himself to, the church and all the goodly things in the world. And yeah.
He's going to feed the hungry. What's up?
This is how he's going to become Pope himself without having to poison anyone.
Oh, no. You guys, he deserves a family. If he becomes a pope and becomes a godly churchman, he's not going to be able to have a girl and children and start his family. Guy deserves a family.
Historically speaking, since when has being a pope stopped you from having kids?
Those would be illegitimate kids, and that would be sad.
It depends on what era of the church you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Like, most of the popes ended up having kids. Like,
I don't know about most of them, but a fair deal of them until they decided to do the vow of celibacy.
Even after the vow of celibacy, they had kids.
Well, okay.
It's fine.
All right. So, a little bit of historical tangent aside, I think Dantes, and also let's not forget poor Abbe Faria. He deserves to be set free. I don't know how they're even now gonna start a new plan to get out of the the pokey. I don't know. I need to know more. Like, we can't read more, of course, because we're already reached our time limit. But in the next chapter, we have to see. Oh no!
Time limits are for sissies.
No,
you didn't look at the chapter title, did you?
I looked at the chapter title. Oh no, you guys! This is no good.
Look, we knew it was coming, but let's not give any more spoilers than we kind of already have.
Well, spoilers.
At least,
Go ahead.
Be at ease. There will be more than 2 roles next time. If you're sick of my voice.
Well, we're definitely not sick of your voice.
We're not sick of your voice. We might be sick of. No. No, we're not. I am kidding, Patrick. I'm kidding.
Oh, that was supposed to be a shot at me? I didn't notice.
I didn't quite finish it. So, yeah. All right, so I hope that you join us. I am not looking forward to the next chapter, but I am looking forward to reading with you guys and seeing how the story continues to surprise us. Yes, even us that have watched the movie adaptations and we think we know everything, but I'm certain that there's going to be many surprises. So do join us for the next chapter titled, well, The Third Attack. Oops. So a huge thank you to the people who read today. Was Abbe and Dantes was read by Patrick. Abbe Faria was read by Teal. The highlighting was done by also Teal. And of course, thank you to the folks on the chat. We had Crusher as well, who said hello while at work. Hello, Crusher. Happy to see you. And anything else that we should talk about this chapter, you guys? I was like about to close it, but did anything else you guys wanted to share about this chapter?
Well, listening to it, I was thinking, one can possess money or one may possess both. There is no, you cannot possess both.
Aw.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I do think we need to say, wake up, Yukihime!
Leave her alone. She's resting and sleeping. She's in the arms of Fluffdrum. Alright, you guys. We will see you then on Wednesday. Unless you want to join us for watch party on Sunday in the Discord server, you know how to do that. Join, support this channel, and you can get access to the server. Until Wednesday then, take care everybody. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, gang.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Arrivederci.